Wait, shh. It's too quiet.
You skipped quiet.
I didn't skip. It's obviously quiet if it's too quiet.
Yeah, but you're supposed to say...
You know what, Summer? Now it's not quiet enough.
Rick and Morty deserves a lot of credit for going out of its way to portray Rick Sanchez as a toxic, deeply unhappy person. Season 5 gets off to a strong start by once again poking holes in Rick's carefree facade and allowing Morty to shine outside his grandfather's shadow. Mort Dinner Rick Andre is ostensibly a parody of 1981's My Dinner with Andre, a film co-creator Dan Harmon also famously parodied in an episode of Community Season 2. It's probably just as well this episode only makes a half-hearted attempt at mimicking the source material. It might be fun to see what this series could do by locking two characters in a room and forcing them to talk for 22 minutes straight, but you'd also miss out on all the sci-fi zaniness that makes this series what it is. Instead, Rick's dinner with an old friend serves as a loose backbone for what turns out to be a very Morty-centric episode. We get to see him stand on his own and how far he's come from the timid little dork he was in the early seasons. At the same time, it becomes painfully apparent just how much of Rick has rubbed off on Morty over the years. His utter disinterest in the consequences of his actions winds up creating a conflict that's as hilarious as it is psychologically bleak. Harmon and Justin Roiland have often spoken about their reluctance to deal with the concept of time travel in Rick and Morty. But much like Season 2's A Wrinkle in Time, the premiere manages to indirectly wade into those waters and build a wacky concept all about the ravages of time. There are echoes of sci-fi classics like The Forever War and Dune here, but the end result is pure Rick and Morty. The episode also gets great mileage out of Rick's nemesis, Mr. Nimbus. The flamboyant fusion of Aquaman and Namor is a hilarious addition to the show's lineup of eccentric supporting characters. Mort Dinner Rick Andre even finds room for a solid entertaining subplot involving Beth and Jerry trying to rekindle the fires of romance. It's nice to see the show actually building on their recent reconciliation rather than reverting back to the old Beth despises Jerry status quo. Rick and Morty may not be heavy on narrative continuity, but there's enough to get a sense that these characters are growing and evolving with time, if not always in the most healthy directions. There are only really a handful of quibbles to be found in the Season 5 premiere. For one thing, Summer is disappointingly underutilized, considering most of her storyline unfolds off-screen. And regardless of the story's loose approach to continuity, it does seem strange to see a Beth/Jerry storyline without any mention of the fallout from the Season 4 finale. If not the biggest or most daring season premiere this series has delivered, Mort Dinner Rick Andre is nonetheless an enjoyable start to the new season. It wisely keeps Rick relegated to the background, allowing Morty to stand on his own 2 feet. In the process, this series proves Morty can be just as funny, just as sad, and just as self-destructive as his grandfather. And meeting Rick's flamboyant nemesis, Mr. Nimbus, certainly doesn't hurt either. For more on reviews, check out what we thought of Werewolves Within, or The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. And for everything else, keep it locked right here on IGN.